whether Rochland can play Perry.
Well, either you come around in front or you drop off a little bit, because Perry looks like he can do what he wants in there, and UCLA is going to have to make a defensive adjustment. Don't let him get the ball in so easily.
Owls by 4.
Temple does a good job of fronting inside. Look at Perry in there trying to get in front of Foster. John Chaney's trying to make the adjustment right now because Foster has a lot of early points. Don't let them get the ball. They're dropping off and sagging in, doing a good job on Foster.
Emil missing a three-pointer, and the rebound goes out of bounds and went off Perry's leg. And that'll bring us to a timeout. 13:39 to play first half in Pauley Pavilion. The visiting Temple Owls out to a 12-8 lead.
The winning ticket numbers for tonight's Nissan Super Shot are...
There are those who fervently believe that true perfection is found in the details. At the Bavarian Motor Works, we gave that belief a name. We call it the BMW 735i. Beautiful, to be sure. Yet perhaps the most beautiful thing about it is its spirit.
Gus, Shaq.
What's up, Cinderella?
Surprise.
That's me.
That's you.
That's Gus. That's us.
When you buy a $5 book of McDonald's gift certificates, you'll get something extra. Either a free Gus or Shaq, the two adorable mice from Walt Disney's classic movie Cinderella, now playing in theaters everywhere. They make great gift decorations, fun ornaments, and cuddly play pals. You can get either Gus or Shaq with a $5 book of McDonald's gift certificates.
And happy holidays from Jacques, from Gus, and us.
Konica tough. Konica's Royal Copiers are tough. Reliability and dependability have earned them a tough reputation. Konica's Royal Copiers, the right choice for tough jobs.
It's tough to keep up appearances on the road, unless you pack the Steam Valet from Sunbeam. It's ready to give you that just pressed look whenever you're pressed for time.
I'm on my way.
The Steam Valet Garment Steamer from Sunbeam.
This is the fourth meeting between these two schools. The 1981 game was played in Tokyo, the 85 game here, and the 86 game last year at McGonigal Hall, which was a very big win for John Chaney's team.
Is the next one in Maui? What do they do? They put them all over the country, or what?
Well, this is the last game of the current series between the two schools, but they are talking about extending it. And of course, there's so many ties between these two schools, which we'll get into. But there's the key man, a man that John Chaney thinks will raise Temple into the national hierarchy of college basketball.
Yeah, he really thinks this is the first real big-time player that he has gotten. Of course, Mr. Basketball out of the state of Michigan got him away from Bill Frieder there, and he's made a definite impact in this program and a bona fide, legitimate blue-chip player.
Macon's first collegiate basket several moments ago will be one to be remembered. Here's a foul on Tim Perry of Temple.
Good pass that time by Emil. UCLA coming out of the timeout and going to Wilson and saying, let's attack the basket instead of shooting the ball on the perimeter. It's good adjustment on the timeout that time by UCLA. Now they got to make some free throws, and you can't go to the line and continue to shoot as low as UCLA has shot this year.
And Wilson makes one. The Bruins 57% in their first two games from the foul line, just 1 of 4 thus far. And Temple leads here 12-9. Ted Robinson, Dan Belwamini with you at Pauley Pavilion.
Ted, Howie Evans is assuming a new role this year also. He was the second guard last year. This year it's a thought transition for him. He comes to the backcourt as Rivas misses the inside jumper. And it's a big role for him to play this year. He has to really adjust his game for the better of the team.
Kevin Walker, number 50 in the game for UCLA. Replacing Rochland during the timeout. Walker pulled that rebound down. Great outside shooter.
Sure is.
As soon as we say that, he misses one. The rebound slapped over the glass, and Evans comes out with it for Temple. Evans on the run to Frieswick. Frieswick for 3. And another offensive rebound by Rivas to Macon for 3. And the ball out to Macon. Temple's a guard-oriented team, a perimeter shooting team. We're seeing that early. Rivas inside. Does not get the roll, so they get 3 shots, no points, and Immel finally clears.
And out rebounding UCLA 2-1 so far. They have about 10, 11 rebounds to UCLA's 5.
Macon really slapped Richardson there. Richardson shaking his right hand to let the refs know. Here is Pooh. And Pooh Richardson hands it for 2, makes it 12-11 Temple. Perhaps the only player in the decade of the 80s to make the east to west migration from Ben Franklin High in Philadelphia to play on the West Coast.
In fact, the last 2 schools in his thinking were Temple and UCLA.
There's Evans missing a 3, and Wilson clears it. Richardson. And Evans does a great job to stop Richardson at the top of the key, make him reverse, and then slap the ball away and turn it into almost 2 at the other end. Yes, it will be. Goaltending on Foster.
And a good look by Rivas. Rivas looked down the court. I thought he was going to miss him that time, but he didn't.
Great defensive play by Evans, sets it up, and we have timeout. 11:44 to play. First half, Temple by 3.
Attention season ticket holders, a list of UCLA basketball home game times.
How does Adrays do it?
Low overhead costs, you know, with the shopping, you know, it's not glamorous shopping, but, you know, I don't need flashy lights and neon and carpeted floors.
They turn their volume. They do it in volume. And consequently, you do dollars. I'm in the garment center. We do the same thing.
I don't know, but I'm happy they do.
Adrays. Just great prices. Guaranteed.
Like this new 19-inch television from Toshiba, now available at Adrays' everyday low price.
Mel Gibson is a cop who's a lethal weapon.
Are you as good as you say you are? Nobody can touch me.
His partner can't control him.
I'm too old for this.
And the risks don't scare him.
What do you say, Jack? Would you like a shot at the title?
Mel Gibson. Danny Glover. Lethal Weapon.
Leading by 3 after about 8 minutes of play at Pauley Pavilion. They've been the more aggressive team, Dan.
They sure have, and they're keying their offense with their defense. There's the pick by Howie Evans and Ramon Rivas. I didn't think he was going to look down the floor, but he went ahead and looked and gave it to Evans. Then the goaltend by Foster. Good call by the official. He was up there. That was a good call.
You know what Temple did last year at McGonigal Hall when they beat UCLA was really contain Pooh Richardson. They've done it so far in the first 8 minutes of this game. That was a great defensive play to make Richardson stop.
Ted, I don't think it's any secret when you're playing against UCLA. I think Richardson's a key guy. John Chaney knows that. He said he's the man we have to stop. We cannot go ahead and let Richardson run this club. And Temple's doing it on the offensive boards. They have had many more shots than UCLA. UCLA really is fortunate to be behind by only 3.
If Temple keeps that offensive rebound difference up, they're going to win this game.
No question about that. And I don't think they will. I think UCLA's got to get after it a little bit and get on the boards. They've got a big front line. They just have to go after it. Good move there.
Overplay on the defense gave Richardson the lane, and the second foul is put in by Trevor Wilson. Wilson with the bucket, 14-13, Temple leading.
One thing about the zone, when you play that defense, you really don't have man-to-man responsibilities, and UCLA could go to the offensive boards and get second efforts because it's difficult to screen your man out in the zone.
Here's Macon. Fallback jumper missing everything, and a foul inside. And that'll be the first foul against UCLA in the game after 9 minutes and 5 seconds. Kevin Walker is whistled.
This has to be a big game for Macon, though. You know, you think here's your first real college test. He did get 29 against the Greek national team, but you're going into Pauley Pavilion. You read about UCLA. Macon's got to be a little nervous. He wouldn't be human if he wasn't. He's missed a couple of shots, but look for him to get going in the second half.
Evans now to Tim Perry. Great shot blocker is Perry, becoming a better offensive player, and there's further proof as he now has 8 points. He's made all 4 of his shots, and Temple leads by 3 again. Perry showed up at Temple 4 years ago. John Chaney didn't think he could play much offense, and there's Walker, an excellent outside shooter, answering to a three-pointer. He is 6'10", but it can fool you. He plays all over the court.
He can play small forward at 6'10". Excellent outside shooter. And he's going to be a real asset to UCLA. Will play a lot of minutes, does not start, but he will play as much as the starters.
Tied at 16 in the game. Brantley for Temple. Turnaround jump gets a good bounce. Derek Brantley, a 6'7" senior from Willingboro, New Jersey. Brantley in for Rivas, and Temple has the lead back. Passing over the zone to Wilson. Three-pointer Immel is good. Dave Emmel had made just 1 of 10 3-point field goals in UCLA's first 2 games. He gives the Bruins the lead.
Said that three-point shot has really turned around. And I think this year you're going to see more three-point shooting than you ever did. Coaches are recruiting it. They're telling their players, if you're a good shooter, go ahead and shoot it. UCLA makes 2. All of a sudden, they go from 3 points behind to 1 ahead.
UCLA's first lead with 9:20 to play in the first half. Away from the ball, a foul. It's going to be on Temple's Brantley. Fighting for position down low with Kevin Walker. And Brantley will pick up his first and Temple's third.
It's a moving screen that time on the baseline, and when that man is moving on the screen, you have to make some contact, and that's what UCLA did. Another outstanding freshman comes in the game, and it's Gerald Matkins, and he's just from Merced, and he's a super player. Walt Hazard's very high on him, number 12.
This is Matkins with the ball. Richardson down low, stumbling as Wilson. Never picks the dribble up, goes all the way and lost the ball, but a great bounce from Foster, who's in the right spot to lay it in and give UCLA a 3-point lead. That's 8 early points for Greg Foster.
UCLA evening up that offensive rebounding stat. All of a sudden, they have a couple.
Breeswick, Evans, and Evans will take the 3. A shooting guard last year at Temple, and Evans, who averaged 12.5 points last year. Going to have to change the thinking, as Dan mentioned earlier, go from the shooting guard mentality to the point guard mentality. But he can still hit that occasional 3, and we're all tied at 21.
And he's going to have to look to do that.
Richardson got matched up with Breeswick, blows right by him left-handed.
No help that time from the other side when you're in the zone. He went right by Breeswick. Breeswick turned around and was looking for some help, but there was nothing there.
And now Evans accelerates by Richardson and hits the shot in the lane. So Evans answers, going right by Pooh. Evans has 9, and we're tied again at 23.
Trying to match up inside now. Temple sort of, now Temple looked like they went straight man-to-man that time, but trying to switch the defense. Perry with the rebound.
That was a long 3-point attempt by Kevin Walker. I think we've seen it, Dan, the first week of the season. No question that more players, more teams are using the 3. It's become a more ordinary part of the offense as Breeswick is fouled on his move in the lane.
Well, there's no question, Ted, and more coaches are really trying to get these kind of players who can score. Here's Breeswick, who has not had a very auspicious beginning here for Temple. He's been cold on his shots, although he gets fouled coming across the middle.
Foul is on Pooh Richardson, his first, UCLA's second. Greg Foster taking a seat, replaced by Craig Jackson, 6'8" senior forward from Denver, co-captain for the Bruins this year, and Breeswick making the first foul shot. And makes them both. Then we'll have another timeout. 7:33 to play in the first half at Pauley Pavilion, and Temple has regained the lead, 25-23.
We're not a company, but we'll give you a chance to work where there's always a challenge. We'll give you opportunities to learn, to develop, to perfect skills that you thought were beyond your reach. We'll help you build a career that can reward you for the rest of your life. We're not a company, we're your country. We're the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
No one would deny that the Japanese are aficionados of fine machinery. So when they reach that station in life when they can afford really fine machinery, guess what they buy? A car from Germany called the BMW 325i, making BMW last year's #1 selling luxury import in Japan.
Ted Robinson, Dan Belwamini back at Pauley Pavilion. We mentioned earlier that this really is a big game for both teams, Dan. It's Temple's opener. Tough way to open. But both clubs would like to make a dent in the early season national attention, national scene. A win here does that for both clubs.
Well, it sure does, Ted. And this is the kind of game that you look back at the end of the season. And when you're trying to fight for that NCAA tournament bid, it's going to really help you to go ahead and say that you beat Temple or Temple beat UCLA on the road. There's a guy that's won a few games.
in his customary perch right behind our broadcast position at courtside. John Wooden. Walt Hazzard, as is his tradition, came over on
Gail
his
Goodrich
pregame trip, said hello to John Wooden and Gail Goodrich in the white sweater, seated to the coach's left. Hazzard and Goodrich.
The
together.
Greatest combination of backcourt players on one team in the history of college basketball, in my opinion, was Walt Hazzard and Gail Goodrich.
Oh, Coach Bell going out on a limb there.
I don't think he's going out on a limb too much. I mean, they were both tremendous players. Won 2 national championships.
Trevor Wilson trapped down low to Walker, and a turnaround is blocked by Coswell, who is called for the foul. Dwayne Coswell, a 6'11 sophomore from New York City.
UCLA trying to get it inside and does a good job. There's Coswell up for the block. All he had to do was jump straight up that time. Still almost had it clean. Coswell, a big guy, and he will play a lot for Temple this year. Let's correct something, too, that Walt Hazzard only won 1 national championship. He did not win 2. And, of course, Gail Goodrich did win 2.
Kevin Walker missing the first foul shot as the Bruins' woes from the line continue.
You know, I never understand why guys back off the line. You take a look at people that, when they get on that free throw line, why don't they just stay there? Don't go backwards. They always want to fade backwards.
Walker missed them both. Temple with the ball and a 2-point lead. They also have number 11, Darren Pearsall, in the game, a 6'7 junior from Chester, Pennsylvania. Makin's long jumper off, but Pearsall comes out with the rebound. But John Chaney going deeper into his bench in the first half than we thought he might.
Ted, the only guys he will not take out of the 2 guards. He's going to go all the way with Evans and Makin. He's not very deep at the guard spot, but has a lot of good front line players.
Here's Pearsall, the long jumper. It's off badly, and the rebound fumbled and now picked up by Madkins. Off to Richardson, the front court. Jackson, Wilson, and Walker, the front court line for the Bruins. Good fake by Walker. And he hits the 2-pointer, left baseline. Walker is also deceptive. He's a lot quicker with the ball than he would look on first glance.
He's almost like a 6'10 guard. Is what he can run out there. He can put it on the ground. He can go to the basket. Pros got to really like him. Here's a guy that can play outside and do a lot of different things. Only a sophomore.
Pearsall looked like he forced that one up over Wilson, but hits it. Darren Pearsall, and it's 27-25. Temple. 6 minutes to play first half.
Both teams playing at a high level. Game started out a little shaky, but they've really picked it up. Good steal again. Evans is all over. See if he can handle this in the open court. Good play.
Richardson let him go. He missed it, but Makin, the freshman, is alertly there for the follow, and the Owls lead by 4.
Very important that time. Mark Makin did not anticipate that his teammate was going to make the breakaway. He runs down, tries to help out, gets the loose ball, and lays it back in. Good hustle by Makin.
Good bounce down low to Jackson, and he's mugged as he goes up for a shot inside. They'll get Pearsall on that foul.
Charles Rochlin replacing Trevor Wilson.
Rochlin back in for UCLA. He'll give Wilson a breather.
Number 11,
foul is Pearsall. His first and Temple's 5th. And Craig Jackson will go to the line to shoot 2 for UCLA. 2 for 7 at the line for the Bruins in the first half. 2 for 8.
It's amazing how it can get contagious after a while. If one person misses it, then everybody else starts. That's 2 for 9 in the first half. And UCLA down 4. They make any free throws at all, they're ahead. But Temple has achieved what they wanted to. They kept UCLA at bay. They control the tempo of the game. They're ahead, and I'm sure John Chaney's very happy with the way his team's playing.
And Jackson off the left shoulder of Brantley steals the ball down low for the Bruins. Back comes Richardson. Great maneuver and an excellent dish to Walker. Shot block. Bruins want a goaltend, no call, and the Owls get the 2 at the other end with Evans.
Well, not only a shot block, but a tap block conversion that leads to a basket and a 4-point swing for the Temple Owls. They're doing a good job inside, Ted. Look at them inside, how they're fronting low. They're not letting the ball go in there. It's good interior defense.
And Rochlin sticks the jumper left side on the arc. It's a 2-pointer for Charles Rochlin. 31-27 Temple. They'll get Immel back for UCLA and Breeswick back for Temple. Breeswick replaces Makin, which leaves the Owls with, in reality, just 1 guard in the game, and Howard Evans.
And UCLA might think of pressing now a little bit. Let's go after him and try to keep the ball away from Howie Evans and force the other players to bring the ball up the floor.
Last basket was credited to
Temple with the ball. 5-4. Pearsall right side. And Pearsall's jumper good, and it will count with a foul on Rochland. There's a big jump shot. And so Darren Pearsall, coming off the bench, not a guy who figured he'd be in the top 8 for Temple, and he's at 8 points.
Had come in and made some big shots, and he just took it right to the foul line that time. UCLA makes an inadvertent foul. Instead of going straight up, Rochland kind of moves in with his body and draws the foul, and Pearsall's got a chance for a 3-point play. There's a big difference right there. They only shot 2 free throws, but
over UCLA, you just can't give away that many points against a team as good as Temple. Missed foul shot by Pearsall, cleared by Craig Jackson. It's 33-27 Temple with 4:14 to play first half.
They're still fronting inside. They're not letting the pass go in, and UCLA is forcing to go outside. It almost looks like they're playing man-to-man. They're playing a long-range switching matchup by Temple.
Walker stripped out of bounds. It will come back to UCLA. John Chaney, a physical education instructor at Overbrook High School in Philadelphia, when a young man named Walt Hazard was a student there. Greg Foster back for the Bruins, replacing Jackson.
Yeah, Walt Hazard said that they used to play a lot of one-on-one when he was in high school with John Chaney. He said he was really tough. Of course, Chaney, a great player in the Eastern League for many years.
And Chaney's teams practice at 5:30 a.m.
Glad I don't play for him. 5:30 a.m.
5:30 a.m. in Philadelphia. It is now about 10:42 p.m. Eastern time for these Temple players. They're thinking about getting ready to get up and go to practice. Coswell inside, missing. But Temple keeps the ball alive. Breezewood comes away with it. He's stripped as he goes up. Here's Immel racing. And Immel goes in, and that'll be a goaltend on Coswell and score the basket for Dave Immel. And that will take us to a timeout. 3 minutes, 26 seconds to play in the first half. Temple leading UCLA 33-29.
No one would deny that the Japanese are aficionados of fine machinery. So when they reach that station in life when they can afford really fine machinery, guess what they buy? A car from Germany called the BMW 325i, making BMW last year's #1 selling luxury import in Japan.
Been knocked and pounded and even half drowned, been crushed and shoved, I've even been loved. I figure I'm winning if the world keeps spinning. Ain't nothing finer than a tough old time. Take a licking and keep on ticking. Takes a licking and keep on ticking. Takes a licking, keep on ticking some more.
Here's UCLA's defense creating points for them at the other end.
Dave Immel, of course, the ball was knocked out by Foster, but Immel picked it up. And watch the job Immel does now. He could have given the ball off. He decided to take it away all by himself, and then the goaltend over the top as Coswell got a bit of it as Immel went up and put it on the glass. But good defense that time by UCLA, and especially good open court play by Dave Immel.
Dan, if we'd had a chance to see your keys to winning tonight, you had fast break points for UCLA as one of them. Yet Temple has more.
Not enough fast break points for UCLA. And the reason why is that Temple gets back on defense very well and limits UCLA in the open court, and that's what you have to do. The other thing that helps is when you score the basket, at least as many baskets as Temple scores, it forces the other team to take it out of bounds, and that's what's happened. Temple's controlled the tempo of this one.
The Owls with the ball, a 4-point lead. They were a top 10 team most of the second half of last year. Preseason ranking number 12 as they play their first game tonight. They won 17 of the 18 Atlantic 10 conference games they played last year. Here's Pearsall. That was a three-pointer that missed. Coswell with the rebound has lost it inside, and Immel comes out for UCLA.
But again, another offensive rebound for Temple. UCLA now back down, going to spread the floor. maybe get some penetration and then look to kick it off. That time a foul occurred on Evans. Evans does look for that steal at the top. Anybody that, you got to be careful when you're at the top of the key on offense, because Evans is going to look to pick it off.
And that's the first on Evans and the 6th foul on Temple in the first half. Mark Macon now returns for Temple, and he'll replace Evans. Now the lineup for Temple will have still, in reality, only one guard in Macon at 6'5". Macon will be the smallest player for Temple at 6'5".
And no real point guard out there for Temple, so I wouldn't be surprised to see UCLA putting on more pressure than they have.
Immel, and that's a three-pointer. Dave Immel hitting a three-pointer from deep in the corner, and he has rediscovered his shooting eye in the first half.
Now's the time to come up on him, maybe look for a double team, force somebody else to handle it. Richardson's trying to put some pressure on Macon.
Immel has 10. Temple leads by a point. Frieswick, good head and shoulder fake on Immel, missing the jump, but Coswell got the rebound, rejected by Foster. He had 5 blocks in New Mexico, did Foster, as Richardson goes back in, and he's sent out of bounds by Pearsall of Temple. And the Bruins will keep it, a chance to regain the lead.
There's some guys playing at a high level in this one. You just cannot take it in there nonchalant, because somebody's going to knock it back on you. Can't bring any weak stuff in there in this game.
Trevor Wilson, and UCLA has the lead back. With 2 minutes and 5 seconds left in the first half. Temple with 8 offensive rebounds thus far. UCLA only 1.
Seems like they've had more than one. I can remember a couple of them they had inside. There's a three-point shot by Macon.
First collegiate game, the man does not look phased at all. John Chaney said this is the recruit that takes us, in a sense, out of the Atlantic 10. Makes us a national team. Rochland hitting at the other end for UCLA.
Of course, Immel created that opportunity, though. Penetration against the zone, draw the defense, and then kick it to the open man.
And Macon comes right back the other way. Now, Mark Macon, we should mention it, totally ambidextrous. You saw him come up with the left hand on the dribble and shoot with the right. He's been ambidextrous since he was a 4th grader.
It's kind of getting it going now. Started out a little shaky, but you knew Macon would get better as the game went on.
And that has to be an awfully tough thing for a defender to figure out. If a guy can score with either hand. We've seen Macon score on a left-hand sweeping hook and then go up with the right hand and hit a jump shot.
Just got to play him straight up and do the best positioning job you can. Richardson's got to stay right up on him because he's got some size on Richardson.
Brantley's turnaround missing. Wilson rips it down. 49 seconds in the half. Temple by 2. Another penetration and a dish, and Rochland buries it again. If the guards for UCLA can make the penetration, Rochland's a good jump shooter.
And Temple needs a lot better defense at the top of the key because they can't afford to let the UCLA guards come right down the middle. Let's see if Temple plays for one now, Ted, to back it up. They should, but they're not. That might be a freshman mistake that time.
And a bad foul there on Richardson. Richardson pulls Macon out of the hole with his 2nd foul, UCLA's 4th, and Macon will shoot 2. Stay with us at halftime. A live interview with a guy who's caught the attention of a lot of people, not just here on the West Coast, but all over the country. Lute Olson, whose Arizona Wildcats won the Alaska Shootout last week. A live interview at halftime, as well as a story about how those Temple Owls practice at 5:30 in the morning, and scores from the top 20 tonight. All of that from the ESPN studio with John Saunders coming up at halftime. And Macon missing the 2nd after making the 1st, and the rebound is out off both Foster and Pearsall. The arrow to UCLA.
John didn't like that call. Did he? No, he did.
You understand it's late for John, too. What time do you get up if you're going to run practice at 5:30 in the morning? Well, UCLA now can take the lead into the locker room as they'll have the final shot of the first half.
Should look to shoot at about 6. Gives you a chance to rebound it in if you miss. There's another penetration right down the middle.
And Immel's dish, Foster's basket, and UCLA will take the lead into the locker room. Strange because Temple played a very good first half. But UCLA comes back and they have a 40-39 lead over the Temple Owls at halftime at Pauley Pavilion. Now to the ESPN studios and John Saunders.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. The UCLA Bruins facing the Temple Owls at halftime. We'll go back to that game at Pauley Pavilion in a moment. Let us tell you, first of all, that this is the Hartford halftime report. And let us check scores from around the top 20 in the nation. First of all, number 1, North Carolina. Started the season as number 3, but moved up in a hurry. A winner 86-74 over Stetson. Scott Williams had 16 points and 17 rebounds in the game. Reed, Chilcott, and Madden all with 12 apiece. Florida, the 7th-ranked team in the nation, facing SMU, and it could be an upset. They're about to be beaten 77-74. SMU, the Mustangs, have the lead. It's in the second half. Number 11, Purdue. The Boilermakers about to be shocked by the Shockers of Wichita State. 74-66 is that score in the second half. And a final, number 16, Kansas, the Jayhawks. A winner over Western Carolina, 68-63 is the final. Back with more in our Hartford halftime report, including a live conversation with Lute Olson, the coach of the Arizona Wildcats. So stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment. The Temple Owls trail the UCLA Bruins by 1 at the half. This halftime report is brought to you by The Hartford, the insurance people of ITT. When you need us most, we're at our best. We go live to Tucson, Arizona in just a moment in a conversation with Lute Olson, the coach of the Arizona Wildcats. First of all, we tell you that the Temple Owls trail UCLA by 1 at the half. The Owls, a team that won 32 games last season. Now, of course, you do that with hard work and discipline. Discipline of dedication, and sacrifice. But perhaps no team illustrates that more than the Temple Owls. They have a wake-up call that rivals the sun. It's very early in the morning in the city of brotherly love. Just a few are awake. Over at Temple University, most of the students are asleep. But what's this? An assistant basketball coach bringing donuts to the school's gym? No, Temple head coach John Chaney isn't mad. He just believes that his Owls should get an early basketball start with a busy school day ahead.
Well, we've always done this. We've done it for many years. You just can't imagine what an athlete's day is comprised of. First of all, he has tutoring in the afternoons and evening, and of course you got the drug educational program that he's got to attend. So his day is really filled.
Chaney's players realize that with a full schedule to contend with, early morning practice isn't so bad.
When my alarm goes off, I just say, man, I want to quit. I don't want to play this game anymore. And then I start walking down Broad Street to McGonigal, and, you know, I start mentally preparing myself for practice. And, you know, once we get started, it's really not that bad. I like it better in the morning.
We haven't had one complaint from our players. From the first day we started on October 15th, we've had all the players to identify with that situation very quickly. In fact, in some cases, when we try to practice in the evening, the players will say to us, well, Coach, can't we go in the morning?
Chaney has a reputation for molding disciplined offenses that make few mistakes. Therefore, it comes as no surprise that the coach and his players regard waking up early as just another form of discipline.
They just find that they've got to establish and organize a day, the day before, in a way in which they can go to bed earlier, and it means that they're not serving a lot of masters.
If you could play at 5:30 in the morning, you can play at any time.
Play at any time they are. They're playing right now, but they are done by 1 at the half, down to the UCLA Bruins. 40-39 is the score. When we return, a conversation live with Lute Olson, the coach of the Arizona Wildcats. Stay with her. UCLA leading at 40-39.
X Atlantis 100, because 2/3 of the Earth is covered with water.
Smile.
The easy does a 35 for pictures meant to come alive.
35 millimeter? It's easy.
Kodak VR 35.
Ta-da!
You just drop the film in. It almost loads itself. Then aim and shoot.
Have you ever seen a sharper baby picture? I have.
Whichever one you want to choose, we've got the 35 for you. Kodak VR 35.
It's a great shot.
Nothing to it.
Makita, the cordless power tool system more professionals use to work around the house, or even build one. Makita, it's all the power you need.
If recent history is any barometer, then you can count on the Dolphins and the Jets lighting up the scoreboard. Who will prevail, Dan Marino or Ken O'Brien? Get all the answers this week on Zenith Monday Night Matchup.
We are at halftime here, back to Pauley Pavilion in just a moment. Then let us tell you, first of all, that a 3-0 start for the Arizona Wildcats may have surprised some, but certainly not their coach, Lute Olson. They went up against the big boys in Alaska and knocked them down in order. Michigan first, and then Syracuse. The Orangemen with their Twin Towers in the middle. However, it was the Wildcats coming out on top with an 11-point victory and the win and the championship in the Great Alaska Shootout. And joining us now live from Tucson, Arizona, is the coach of the Wildcats, Lute Olson. And Coach, first of all, I have to ask you, your team's so enthusiastic on the sidelines, and after you won the game, you'd think it was a national championship. Is that by design, or do these guys sense just how good they really are?
Well, I think we're going to be a good ball club, John. As to whether we're as good as what we showed up there, I don't know. We shot, for the 3 ball games, we shot like 58.6%, and if you do that, you're going to look very good all the time. Our bench is super enthusiastic, and the approach we try to take with our players is that, hey, you're there to participate. Even if you're sitting on the bench, let's get into the game and help the guys who are out there. It's an outstanding group of young people.
I would hazard a guess that there is not another coach in the nation who can say he has 6 starters coming back. Steve Kerr, of course, coming back after an injury last season, missing the whole year. What has that meant to your program with so many guys who can go in there and do the job for you?
Well, one of our strengths, obviously, John, is our depth. Kenny Lofton was our point guard for us a year ago, starting point guard, and I thought did an outstanding job. Craig McMillan now is starting for his 3rd year, and Anthony Cook and Sean Elliott are 3-year starters. Tom Talbert was a junior college player who's now in his 2nd year as a starter. So it's a great feeling to know that if something happens with Steve or Craig, that Kenny can come off the bench, and we know that he'll play as well as anybody. And then we had the great fortune of having Joe Turner come through like he did against Syracuse at a difficult time because Tom Tolbert got in early foul trouble. We had to play more than 15 minutes of the first half with the kid who was our 2nd leading scorer a year ago sitting on the bench.
It is a team, as you say, that is very deep. But talk a bit for a moment about Sean Elliott. He has to be the guy that you look for when you come down in stretches of big games.
There's no question, John. He's the guy with the outstanding ability that seems to be able to make a lot of things happen. You know, not only now is he doing the normal job offensively, but defensively he's doing a solid job. And then rebound-wise, he had 10 defensive rebounds against Syracuse, and there are not very many players in the country who could do that, whether they're a quick forward as Sean is or a big man. He honestly could play the point guard for us if that's where we needed him. He's that talented a player. I've been telling Dick for a little while that I think he's the best 3-man in the country, and I think maybe even Dick believes me after that, after watching him 3 games up in the Alaska Shootout.
You go, as we say, to being the hunter, or rather from being the hunter to being the hunted. In other words, you've knocked off a couple of the big teams in the nation. You look to rise up in the polls. How much more difficult is it to prepare the kids knowing now that, hey, we're not knocking off big teams, but teams are coming out wanting to knock us off?
Well, we've sort of felt, John, from 2 years ago when we won the Pac-10 title with this same group, only a lot younger group, that people have been pointing for us, at least in this part of the country, since that time. I think our kids like pressure. I think they like playing in the big games. They like playing against teams who really want a piece of them. I think we're seasoned enough now to be able to take on that challenge and get the job done.
You've got a very tough schedule. I look at Illinois and Iowa's in there. Of course, you've already played Syracuse and Michigan. Duke is in your tournament. You, obviously, a coach that likes the philosophy, along with Denny Crum at Louisville, say play the big boys because that's who you're going to be meeting down the end of the line.
Well, I think it's so important when you have a veteran ball club, John, that you play against top caliber competition. I can't feel for a second that we would do ourselves any good by playing cupcakes and winning by 20 or 30 points. I think then I'd have a problem of motivating our guys. By playing against Illinois, and we play at Iowa a week from Saturday, which is going to be a tough one. We have Florida and Duke and Michigan State in our tournament at Christmas. We are playing against really good competition, but we're playing against them because I think that'll make us better.
Okay, Coach, thank you very much for joining us. Good luck tomorrow night against Long Beach State. Continued success in the Pac-10. You've off to a great start, and we really appreciate you joining us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, John.
Okay. We continue here with our halftime report. Before you go back to Pauley Pavilion, let us run down some more scores. We will start with Purdue having a dickens of a time against Wichita State. However, they do pull it out. They were down by 8 points at one point late in the second half, reeled off 8 in a row, sent the game into overtime, and won it 80-78 over the Shockers. Elsewhere, North Carolina, Wilmington facing Virginia, 87-51. No problem for the Cavaliers in this one. Indiana from Pennsylvania facing Duquesne. Duquesne gets the win, 85-67. We will go back to Pauley Pavilion now live to the UCLA game facing the Temple Owls in this one. To Ted Robinson and Dan Villamini, thank you very much for joining us at halftime. We'll see you after the game, and enjoy the second half. 40-39 is the score. The Bruins leading the Owls.
Well, thank you very much, John. Some interesting scores there, especially Purdue coming back. But here's a first half, Dan, where I think if you watched it without seeing the score, you might think Temple was in front. Temple played pretty good first half.
Yes, they did play a good first half, Ted, and I thought the reason they're not in front, they had some defensive breakdowns late in the first half, and they allowed UCLA some penetration that they really shouldn't have. And when UCLA penetrated and kicked the ball off, they got excellent shots. So Temple did it early with their defense. And Howie Evans at the point, you've got to watch him because he has quick hands and he makes the steal and makes the drive. But it's the freshman Mark Macon who anticipates the miss and comes from behind to tip it in. A smart play by the freshman Mark Macon, and he's a great one.
Now, why UCLA is leading by a point and a half. Excellent shooting in the first half.
They shot 62%, but this is the penetration. Evans goes for the ball. That was Macon who went for it, couldn't get it. The penetration, the kick off the Roslin, the wide open jumper, and UCLA did that 3 or 4 times at the end of the first half.
That's the shooting we talked about. If UCLA's guards can penetrate, they have guys that can hit the shot. 62% to Temple's 46%.
A lot more shots by Temple, though. They were dominating the boards early, and UCLA did make 60% of the three-point shots, and that's a big difference right there. 9 to 6 by UCLA.
That's a big difference too.
Sure is. Well, 13 is not real good. And you're giving them the benefit at 13. You're going to round it off.
A blindfold might beat that. But there's a shocker, and Temple had half of those. There you see half of those 20 rebounds on the offensive boards. You would never have guessed that before the game.
No, you wouldn't have. And fast break points were very important for UCLA, and they didn't get enough of them. They need to get the ball in the open court and score on the break, but you need to rebound the ball if you're going to start the break, and they haven't been able to do that.
There's your first half scoring. Evans leading Temple with 11 points. And again, this is the young man making the move this year, replacing Nate Blackwell as a point guard. Still scored 11. Greg Foster had 10 points. He had all 5 of his shots inside. Dave Immel added 10 outside for UCLA. Pooh Richardson with just 4 points, and he didn't hurt Temple as much as you might have thought beforehand.
No, and look for Pooh to have a big second half. I really thought that Ramon Rivas, I thought, did a pretty good job when the game started. And Ted, the reason he didn't play much after the start of the first half was because Foster got some easy baskets, and he hurt Temple defensively, and John Chaney made a change. But they're coming back with the starting lineup.
Rivas played the first 8 minutes for Temple, never came back as Macon misses a three-pointer. There's Rivas again, keeping the ball alive. That's what he did so well in the first 8 minutes of the game, was keep the ball alive offensively, but at the other end was where he was burned.
Another offensive rebound for the Owls. That's 11 they've had already. There's Griesrich trying to get his first 2. might have a goaltend from the outside. There was a foul call by Bob Sidoff inside, and I think Jimmy Clark had the goaltend on the outside.
Absolutely a good call at both ends. A foul and a goaltend.
Good spin move by Breeswick. He takes it in strong. There's the goaltend by Rochelin. Good call by the official, so Temple can start this half with a 3-point play.
But Breeswick missing the foul shot. The foul was on Foster of UCLA, his first. And so Temple has the lead back by a point.
Temple back in their matchup zone. A lot of fronting inside. Perry not going to let the ball in. There's a shot Richardson has to make. They sagged off. They collapsed. They gave Richardson the 16-footer. That's because they're trying to front Foster inside. They're taking away the inside, but you're going to give up the jumper, and Richardson put it home.
And with Reggie Miller gone, and for the last 2 years, this really was Reggie Miller's team, Walt Hazard says he's been encouraging Pooh Richardson to shoot a bit more than he has in the past. They're missing the turnaround inside, and the rebound to Wilson. Bruins move it up quickly, and the open jumper for Rochelin. And UCLA leads by 3.
And actually, that was a pretty good transition by UCLA, but Temple did get back. Their defensive transition is excellent. Temple went ahead and had all 5 players in front of the ball. UCLA just made the open shot.
This ties UCLA's biggest lead. 3 points. Breeswick looking inside where Rivas is backing up Foster into the paint. But the ball stays outside, and Macon missing, but Perry is high for the offensive rebound. Put it back down on the floor. And it finally will come up, and there'll be a foul called on UCLA. On Rochelin, reaching in. And that will be 2 on Rochelin, 2 on UCLA.
Well, you got to go after it when the ball's on the ground. Emil tried to pick it up standing. So Emil made a little mistake there. He threw it under the basket, which is very tenuous if you're UCLA. Then everybody goes after it. And the foul was called on Rochelin going after the ball.
And you could see where Rochelin committed the foul with the right arm in across Rivas. Emil, of course, was letting go of the ball because if he had hit the deck with it, he would have been called for traveling. He had to let go of the ball. It wound up in an inopportune place.
If you're going to let go of the ball, though, my point, Ted, is try to let go of it someplace other than under the basket, because Temple could have picked it up and laid it in. There's a good pass.
Yes. And Rivas can't get the shot down, but the excellent entry pass by Evans. The foul will put Rivas at the line.
Richardson doing a little coaching out there on the floor. There's the entry pass inside. But again, UCLA playing straight behind at the post. Easy pass, and Rivas really should have put that ball home. Just couldn't make it. But Foster playing way behind in there. Look for UCLA to maybe come around in front a little bit. Cannot give these big 6'9", 260 players the ball 3 feet from the basket.
Rivas is one player. The foul was on Foster, by the way, his second. Rivas, a player whom we would not think that they are lying about on the program measurements. They list him at 250.
He's a
he
big
looks every pound of it.
Yeah, he's a big man. Just coming off an arthroscopic knee surgery, and a nice touch. Shot those free throws very well. A good rotation on the ball.
44-43, UCLA by 1. And Foster's shot is off. Perry harassed that. Now Perry's running at the other end, but he'll hold up and wait for help. Bruins back well on defense. Macon missing a 3, and there's more offensive rebounding, and Rivas roulets it around the rim, and it drops.
Well, the one thing you have to like about Temple, they know how to get offensive rebounding position. Those big guys are working inside, and they really have good work ethic around the basket.
So Temple leads by a point again, 17:25 to play at Pauley Pavilion. They're really doing it with excellent rebounding. Open jumper for Rochelin. There's Immel on the offensive glass. Made a reverse out of it, missed it. Loose ball to Macon of Temple. One of the few second chances for UCLA on offense.
Immel wanted a foul but didn't get it. Kind of like Evans. I mean, Evans does control the game. He's doing a good job at the point. He's trying to get everybody in position.
Breeswick. First basket for Mike Breeswick. Second basket for Breeswick, and it's 47-44. Temple leading. See, earlier had one on the goaltend call.
I'm sure John Taney talked at halftime about not letting UCLA penetrate. Wilson put the ball on the floor, didn't have to that time. All he had to do was spin and shoot, but he went ahead and put the ball on the ground and gave the Temple defenders a chance to gather themselves.
Watch Perry, one of the premier shot blockers in the country.
Of course, the ball was knocked out of his hands, it looked like, but Perry comes from behind, just knocks it right away.
And we've seen a difference at both ends. A moment ago, Foster of UCLA, a good shot blocker, fouled when he left his feet on a head and shoulders fake. Perry, they say, does not go for that. He won't leave his feet on that first fake. Good quick move by Wilson, but then he lost the ball. Unfortunately, had to go through Breezewick on the way out. Fortunately for Wilson, and UCLA will get another crack.
John Chaney did a little hop, skip, and a jump that time off the bench. Evans almost had the steal. He reached from behind, and if they would have gotten the steal, Evans would have had a layup at the other end of the floor because he was almost at half court.
Rochland, Richardson, Immel, Dave Immel. Getting pressured for playing time by Gerald Madkins after the first two, but Immel has scored 12 tonight. And why is Temple also playing so well? Neither guard, Macon nor Evans, had a turnover in the first half. John Chaney hates turnovers. And neither guard, and they control the ball about 90% of the time, has a turnover. Foul here against UCLA.
See, if they have a lot of turnovers, Ted, what happens is instead of practicing at 5:30, they tee it up about 4:15. so there's no turnovers on this team.
Foul was on Rochland, his third, UCLA's fourth. Walt Hazzard doesn't like what he's looking at. Temple leading by a point.
The United States Grand Prix. It's as close as most of us ever get to a Formula One machine. Until now. The Acura Integra. It's Formula One technology and it's street legal. The Integra. Precision-crafted performance from Acura.
We're not a company, but we recognize potential. We develop it. We use it. We'll make sure that as your responsibility grows, so will you. As your ability for leadership grows, so will you. Working with us, you'll gain self-confidence. Become a person with a future. We're not a company. We're your country. We're the Marines, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. We're the armed forces. It's a great place to start.
When the sun goes down, gonna light up the night. Silver label, red ribbon, a taste that's right. Gonna light up the night. Michelob Light. Gonna light up the night. Light up the night. Michelob Light. Gonna light up the night. Light up the night.
We'll take a look at how Temple is making a mark on this game on the offensive glass.
They do a good job of positioning inside and going for every rebound. Ramon Rivas, who had 3 offensive rebounds in the first half, gets this one in the second and puts it back home. Temple doing the job on the offensive boards. That's a big discrepancy at 12-3, and that's the reason they're ahead in this game.
Of course, it's the first game, so you're basing a lot of it on scouting reports, but there was some question about Temple's inside play, and they're answering some of those questions tonight.
Yeah, there's no question. This is a quality team. It's a top 15 team in the country because they've got Coswell coming in off the bench, who's 6'11", and excellent guard play. Cannot win in college basketball unless you have great guards. I mean, you can't win big. Temple's got great guards. Both of these, Evans and Macon, can play.
No changes for either club during the timeout. Breezewick, that's a 3, and he's got it. His first 3-pointer of the game. And there's a man in Breezewick who more than 50% of his shots last year were 3-point tries.
And he's a confident shooter. Did not have a good first half. Came out the second half and has 7. And those shooters look at the basket. A couple of missed shots do not discourage him. UCLA needs to answer.
And Foster got behind the defense there. He got behind Perry. And on the entry pass, he was fouled.
Temple was trying to draw the charge that time. They went over the top. Look at Macon trying to draw the charge. He's holding position, and then the reach in by Perry. Macon had good position that time had Foster kept going.
First foul of the second half against Temple. It is the second on Tim Perry. And Greg Foster will shoot too, but this has been an adventure for UCLA tonight. And Foster makes the first one. That makes him 4 for 11 this year at the free throw line. Sophomore from Oakland, California, missing the second, and the rebound to Tim Perry. 50-47 Temple.
Of course, Greg Foster out of Skyline High School in Oakland, and his teammate Gary Payton, a fine point guard at Oregon State. They had quite a high school team there.
Mike Frieswick and Mark Macon, number 12. Macon is the highly regarded freshman from Saginaw, Michigan.
He hasn't disappointed anybody, Ted. He's pretty good.
Showed that in his very first move of the game, a left-handed driving hook. Three-pointer by Evans is off the rim and will go out of bounds to UCLA. Now, Temple is already, the impact of Macon being here has already been felt. Temple has signed another blue chipper for next year. Donald Hodge, a 6'10 center from the nation's capital. As Rochland hits it, that's a two-pointer. Two-pointer for Rochland. Brings the Bruins back within one, but you hit a blue chip with Macon, then a blue chip for next year, and all of a sudden John Chaney can raise this program.
Well, he has raised it. They're rolling now.
Here's Macon. Mark Macon. And that is 12 points now for Macon.
What an advantage, Ted, to be a 6'5 guard who can shoot it and handle the ball. Macon that time just ran the motion, and when he squares up and gets a good look at it, he's going to put it down.
Here's the spin down low by Wilson, and Perry blocked another shot, but UCLA gets it back. Immel was going to take an open jump, drop the ball. Rochland has the open jump, can't put it down. Wilson has one chance and makes good on the second with a foul. Well, the Bruins turn the tables with some offensive rebounding.
Key to UCLA's success is Trevor Wilson. That time Rochland misses the open jumper, and actually Wilson should have made the first shot but stays with it and puts it home. And Trevor Wilson had two big games against Oral Roberts in New Mexico, and he's having a subpar game here tonight, but he needs to pick it up in the last 13 minutes for UCLA to be victorious.
Well, Sean Johnson in for the first time now for Temple, and he replaces Rivas. Johnson, a 6'7 junior from Philadelphia. The foul shooter, Trevor Wilson. And it's 52 apiece with 13:35 to play. Evans to front court. Perry. And Perry goes over Wilson's back to knock the rebound out. The Bruins want the foul. No call. This is a Pac-10 crew in entirety tonight. Booker Turner, Bob Sithoff, and Jimmy Clark, the referees. Now that lob pass to Rochland. Getting a lot of shots and not burying enough of them. Rebound Frieswick. Rochland's the man winding up with a lot of open shots in the UCLA offense. Frieswick. And cleared by Foster. Again, Pooh pushing it and dishing. Another open shot. This one Rochland knocks down. He looks like he might be one of those players, Dan, who shoots better when he's moving than when he's standing still.
Yes, he is, and that's one of the first transition baskets off a missed shot that UCLA has had. They need more of those. Macon tries to answer. Now they got it going.
And they'll push it. Pooh Richardson. Great pass to Immel. And let's see, they'll wipe the basket out as Evans is called for a foul on Richardson before the shot by Immel.
Evans does a good job getting back on defense, but what creation that time by Pooh Richardson. He comes down. Evans goes for the ball. There's the shot by Rochland before. Rochland with the open shot. That was the first transition basket that UCLA has had where they've come off a miss. The next time down, Richardson made a spectacular pass but was fouled prior to the shot.
Brantley is back in for Temple. The foul on Evans, and that's his second. Bruins inbound, leading by 2, UCLA. Foster. High arcing shot didn't go. Rochland keeping it alive, but it's run down by Evans for Temple.
Hard to make those shots when you're fading away from the basket. Foster has to go toward the basket in order to keep the Temple players honest and draw some fouls.
Evans and Macon, they played almost the entire game for Temple. And Macon just pulls up on the dribble, and Immel, the defender, just wheels in frustration saying, what can I do? if Macon can make shots like that.
Play good position. That's all you can do. Cannot stop that. Macon just took it upon himself to shoot the jumper. But he's something, isn't he?
14, what we have for Macon. It is 54 apiece.
You know what you like about Macon, too? He gets it in the flow of the game. I mean, it's not forced. He's going to go ahead and get his shots.
The travel on Wilson. Yeah, you watch Macon, and it sounds like a cliche, but he doesn't look like a freshman. He carries himself and plays like a seasoned man. Timeout at Pauley Pavilion. Temple and UCLA are all tied.
Jim was afraid to work on his car before he got his Haynes manual. It was a gift, and it's really taken the mystery out of doing repairs. Haynes manuals are unique because Haynes does the work before they write the book. The step-by-step procedures and illustrations make it easy. It's like having a mechanic in every book. For car, truck, or import owners, Haynes manuals are perfect gifts. Ask for Haynes manuals by name at auto parts and bookstores everywhere. On sale now at Chief Auto Parts and Walden Books.
Mel Gibson is a cop who's a lethal weapon.
Are you as good as you say you are? Nobody can touch me.
His partner can't control him.
I'm too old for this.
And the risks don't scare him.
What do you say, Jack? Would you like a shot at the title?
Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, Lethal Weapon.
Been here many times like you have, Dan. You get hit by the aura, by the tradition. There it is, the fourth winningest program in NCAA history.
And all the banners and everything else. And, of course, UCLA, very impressive. And that man right there, John Wooden, of course, with 10 national championships, was a big part of it.
And it's been a very difficult road for so many who've had to follow Coach Wooden here. Walt Hazzard, in 3 years here, there you see his record. He's won 65% of his games at UCLA. He was the Pac-10 Coach of the Year last year. But 10 national championships is something that will never happen.
Well, nobody's ever going to do that. You just accept the fact that you do the best you can. The game has changed some now, and the recruiting wars have changed. And what John Wooden did, nobody will ever repeat that one.
Tim Perry, and you saw Foster step back there, but Perry didn't take advantage. But outside, Evans does for 3.
Three-point field goal.
Howard Evans. And that's 14 for Evans.
Good two-man game. Good two-man game. That's Ted. Inside to Perry, you collapse on him, dump it back outside to Evans, and he did a smart thing. Now he did another smart thing. But this is Macon going for a dunk.
A blur. He just blurred in front of Emmel. Never saw him. And Mark Macon goes flying in for the slam. That is, by our count, 16 now for Macon, and Temple has a 5-point lead with 11 minutes to play.
I like what Evans did. He just backed up behind the three-point line. He was real close. He said, I'll just go behind it and make the shot. Then Macon gets the steal. You're seeing great guard play by Temple. Superb guard play. Step in front, get the steal in the open court, and he just makes this look easy. Just bring it on home.
It's dangerous to get too over-enthusiastic about a young man playing his first game, but he's playing like a potential All-American, let alone an All-Freshman. That young man is playing an outstanding game.
Temple's going to have great backcourt scoring the whole year. You're looking at probably one of the better backcourts in the country in Howie Evans and Mark Macon.
Right, UCLA now down by 5 with the ball. Kevin Walker, 50, is in the game for the Bruins. Pearsall's in the game, or Coswell, excuse me, is in the game for Temple. And we have a foul here on the Owls.
Well, Evans is, you got to watch Evans because he's behind the zone and he takes a lot of chances on defense. He's very smart. He knows where the ball's going. He tries to get position. He looks for the steals.
But now he has to be a bit cautious as he's picked up his 3rd foul. With 10:47 left, Gerald Madkins, the UCLA freshman from nearby Merced, California, replacing Immel.
Of course, Temple can ill afford to lose Howard Evans.
Off the inbounds, Foster never brought the ball down, held it high up over the head and hit the jump. That's 13 for Greg Foster, and the Owls' lead is 3. Macon, that's a 2-pointer, short. And Richardson comes out with a loose ball, running for the Bruins. Good defensive hustle by the Owls. and almost creates a turnover. UCLA keeps it. You see, Dan, how many cherry jerseys were back on that break.
Yeah, they get behind the ball very well. They do not give you any open court layups. As soon as you get the ball, all 5 players hustle back to that defensive position. Temple's been doing that all night.
There is Darren Pearsall now back in the game for Temple. Temple has yet to turn the ball over in the second half as Richardson drives and dishes to Madkins for 2. Well, Temple in the first half had 6 turnovers. That probably was infuriating John Chaney. They have yet to turn it over in the second half.
I think they were one of the leaders in the country last year, they only made about 8 or 9 turnovers a game.
Harry down low, step back. Doesn't go. Breeswick high over Walker, saves it. The Bruins narrow the lead to 1, but Temple gets a second try.
Temple's got a big team in the game now. They're going to Macon at the point. Everybody is 6'5" or bigger. Macon's the smallest player out there, so Temple, very good rebounding team.
Good tip attempt by Breeswick. Didn't go. Another chance. Brantley swatted away by Wilson, and the Bruins come out with the loose ball. Richardson, who has not been able to make many drives in the paint tonight. There he goes on
as
one.
As you speak.
Fighting for the loose ball. It's tied up, and the arrow will belong to UCLA. A lot of Pooh's drives have been cut off at the foul line tonight.
UCLA has been successful when they have penetrated and dished the ball off. There's a shot I'm sure Pooh feels he should have made. A layup with the left hand, and then he has the presence of mind to go back after the basketball, get down on the floor, and create a jump ball or create a possession situation that UCLA now commands.
9:15 left. Temple by a point. Wilson, and a long rebound to Foster. Shovels it back to Wilson, and the Bruins will pull it out.
Smart play by Trevor Wilson that time. Did not have it. Kick it back out. You got a new 45.
Great spot inside. Richardson cutting, puts the ball down. It goes out off Macon's leg, and it will come back into UCLA again.
You cannot put the ball down on the ground inside the paint against Temple. They have quick hands, and they do go after the basketball.
We have a timeout here called by UCLA. 8:54 to play at Pauley. Temple leading 59-58.
Been knocked and pounded and even half drowned. Been crushed and shoved. I've even been loved. I figure I'm winning if the world keeps spinning. Ain't nothing finer than a tough old time. Take a licking and keep on ticking. Takes a licking and keep on ticking. Takes a licking, keep on ticking some more.
Nowadays, when a businessman gets stuck in his car, he doesn't have to be just stuck in his car. He can be talking to a client, or a prospective client, or be in touch with his own office. He can be doing a million different things if he has our MobileNet cellular car phone service. Just imagine how much more productive you could be with MobileNet. Gee. No, GTE.
Ted Robinson, Dan Belwamini at Pauley Pavilion. Temple leading by a point with 8:54 to play. UCLA getting a bit more aggressive in their rebounding in the later minutes of the second half.
Well, UCLA was on the offensive boards in the first half. It was 12-3 in favor of Temple, but UCLA's come back to have 7 offensive rebounds in the second half, and Greg Foster was a big part of that. He's scoring, he's rebounding, and he's doing a good job for UCLA.
One thing, though, this year, Dan, is Jack Haley has graduated. UCLA really doesn't have a backup center. Walker, their big man, is not truly a center, and they don't have anybody to back up Foster.
Yeah, and if Foster gets in foul trouble or they got to take him out of the game, they don't have a true center, and their rebounding goes down. There's a great pass inside, and another block by Temple.
Boy, Perry all over that. Here is Macon. But he pulled the string, got his own rebound. He pulled the string on the foul line jumper and left it short, but the ball came right back to him, and he now has 18 in his first collegiate game. Temple by 3. Richardson down low as Madkins runs it up top. Bruins almost turn it over. Now Walker. Brantley comes flying out of that baseline zone, and Walker turns the ball over on the baseline. Immel is back for Richardson. So UCLA giving Richardson a rest with 8:20 to play. And up comes Mark Macon. Now John Chaney's going to match that and bring Evans back in the game. Breeswick. And Madkin's got a piece of the ball as Breeswick went up that affected his shot. And back come the Bruins. Down by 3. And Walker trying to tie it. Madkins gets the loose ball far side. Trying to whip it right back under the paint for Wilson. He throws it away.
Madkins makes a freshman mistake. Instead of bringing it back out, you got a new 45. John Chaney saying, let's go. Let's rebound it a little bit better. Think he's in this one?
After so many years at Cheney State, suburban Philadelphia, including a Division II title, now in his 6th year at Temple. Wilson has left the game for UCLA. Rochlin back in. Evans in for Temple with a great entry pass, and Perry's shot is blocked. I believe that was Rochlin that got that. And here's Madkins back for UCLA, but Madkins now running the offense with Richardson sitting down. Foster doubled up on the drop, down low to Rochlin, and they'll get a foul inside, I think, on Macon for Temple.
Boy, that last time Perry backed all the way down inside, and I think he was surprised by Rochlin. He didn't expect anyone to come from the weak side. He just turned around, laid it in easy, and got it blocked.
Foul on Macon, his first. 5 team fouls on Temple, 4 on UCLA with 7:26 to play. Temple leading by 3. Madkins missing the 3, and the rebound to Perry. Rivas is back in the game for Temple. Ramon Rivas.
John Chaney saying, slow it down. They're going to get back in their stack, let Evans penetrate from the top. Tough to guard him off of that stack because Macon's running all over the place inside off of screens. Now they're going to have Evans go down. Well, Rivas backs you right down. Hard to play behind him all the way down in there. And when he gets it inside and he's 3 feet from the hoop, it's tough.
He's got that wide load sign across his back, boy. He just backed Foster right underneath the hoop. And Temple leads by 5. But it's funny, Rivas, despite as big as he is, he gets out there and flashes out pretty quickly in that zone. Walker has an open 3, and he nails it. Kevin Walker has a big bucket for UCLA, pulls him back within 2. 6:25 left.
John Chaney trying to get the ball inside. Temple shots are coming from around the basket. UCLA's are coming from the perimeter.
Howard Evans, Mark Macon. We're playing him as the Bruins stay man. Rivas and Foster down low. Macon's jump doesn't go, and Rochlin rebounds. Temple peeling back there. Long pass on the run to Walker. But he misses the layup, but he'll go to the line with a chance to tie the game. Kevin Walker flashing down the court quickly after that big defensive rebound. Foul is on Macon, his second.
Good look that time by Madkins. Walker running the court well, takes it in, and there's the push from behind. Walker misses the shot. Macon picks up the foul. Temple's going to take a timeout.
Temple takes a timeout, and we'll break. 5 minutes, 57 seconds left at Pauley Pavilion. John Chaney's Temple Owls in their season opener lead UCLA by 2.
The typical family drive. Somehow it won't seem so typical if you drive an atypical family car. The Integra 5-door, Formula One technology, precision-crafted performance from Acura.
Come from working on Thailand Beach. Try to make some supper, but I can't even eat. Jump in the shower, watch the world from my back. Gotta get you, baby, that's a natural fact. In the nighttime, that's the right time. I wanna be with you in the nighttime.
The night belongs to Michelob.
Now back at Pauley Pavilion, just to give you an idea of what Temple is trying to accomplish here tonight. UCLA is beginning its 22nd season of basketball at Pauley Pavilion. They have lost a total of only 29 games in those 21 seasons in this building. Only 13 non-conference games has UCLA ever lost in Pauley Pavilion.
Of course, I'll look at all the banners, and there's a lot of those in this building.
Last year, the Bruins lost only 2 games at Pauley. They were both Pac-10 games. Kevin Walker here trying to tie it at 5:57 to play. A 6'10" sophomore from Brea, California, another suburb of Los Angeles. And he misses the second, so Temple still leads by a point. UCLA is now 4 for 13 from the free throw line tonight.
Of course, UCLA is a very young front line themselves. They've got Foster's a sophomore, and Rosslin's a junior. Trevor Wilson's a sophomore, so they've got a lot of players in this program coming back.
And Macon's miss is rebounded by Temple, and the Owls get a second chance. Macon taking a lot of shots as this second half progresses.
So he's playing with a lot of confidence now. He knows he can score. He wants the ball. UCLA dropping off. He can't drop off of Evans too much. He's going to make it. There's good defense by Kevin Walker that time, trying to play Perry over the top and not allow the ball just to be entered in easily.
5:19 to play. 26 on the shot clock for Temple. Evans now at midcourt calls out the play, but it's been basically a guard-oriented offense again for Temple. The big people are getting most of their chances off the boards.
Almost looked like a moving screen that time by Ramon Rivas, and he sets a big screen.
Shot clock is down to 5, so Evans goes up and hits a 3 with 3 seconds on the shot clock. There's a big bucket, puts Temple back up by 4.
There's only 2 baskets in the second half, have both been 3-pointers.
Evans now has 17. Richardson, good spot inside to Immel, and Dave Immel hits the layup. With 4:28 to play, and it's a 2-point game. Up court comes Evans.
Double screen again, Macon behind it. That's tough to handle. You either got to jump out on that because they got the big double screen and run Macon right around the double.
20 points for Mark Macon, the freshman. And Temple leads by 4 again as we approach the 4-minute mark. And a pass up top stolen.
Oh, he's doing it. Is he doing it or what?
Make it 22. What a debut. And Walt Hazard immediately off the bench on that turnover and basket. They call timeout. But there's nothing he can do now about Mark Macon. 22 points for the freshman, and Temple leads by 6.
I don't know. What are you going to do?
I don't know.
I'd go to college.
Me too.
If I had the money.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do?
I don't know. What are you going to do?
You don't want those fries.
What are you going to do, Jack? Eat your way to college?
Hey, really? I'm going to college on the new GI Bill. You serve full-time in the armed forces or part-time in the reserves, and you earn a lot of money for tuition.
The GI Bill.
Are you using that pickle?
For young men and women in the armed forces, it's a great place to start. See a local military recruiter.
This is where we make the new 3M surgical clipper by Remington. Hospitals are now using this advanced product, replacing blades, to shave patients for surgery safely and comfortably. You can also benefit from Remington's advanced technology. This charger stand keeps the Remington microscreen rechargeable continually charged. It never needs a cord, and it shaves as close as a blade, or your money back. And the Lady Remington rechargeable also shaves without a cord. Now, lowest price ever on Remington microscreen rechargeable.
Dan, I feel like we're sitting here tonight watching the making of a star.
Well, he is a star. Macon with the internet. He's done this once before. This is an encore performance. Steal, breakaway, and dunk. And he's an impressive player. Picks up 22 points already in the ballgame.
Temple has yet to turn the ball over in the second half.
UCLA with 10 turnovers. That big goose egg up there. I'm sure John Chaney was not happy with those 6 turnovers in the first half, and UCLA needs to come out of this timeout and score. There's the numbers on Macon. Very impressive.
That young man is lacing them on tonight for the first time ever as a collegiate basketball player, and look what he's done. And Temple has another premier guard who'll be joining their program next year, Michael Harden, out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He's not eligible this year under Proposition 48 requirements, but when he comes in next year, as Temple goes to a press here off the inbound.
That's right. They're showing something different off a timeout. John Chaney trying to change it a little bit and give UCLA a different look. Now the Bruins with numbers. I'm surprised Richardson didn't go ahead and look to take that one in a little bit. UCLA looked like they had a 3-on-2.
Temple by 6. 3:40 remaining in the game. And Wilson muscling in, forced a shot.
Ill-advised shot that time. They needed a good one. They needed a score. Wilson with an off-balance shot, something that Walt Hazard has to be disappointed with, and Temple has control of this game.
He's going to take Wilson out. Immel breaks the ball up out of bounds, and Kevin Walker, immediately after forcing that shot, Walt Hazard takes Wilson out. And he's going to tell him about it, brings Kevin Walker in. .320 to play. A Temple basket here makes things very difficult for UCLA. There's still a lot of time left.
And the one thing you'll notice is they'll get the ball in the hands of their better players down the stretch. It's Macon, it's Evans, it's going to be inside to Perry. There's Macon again.
Left-handed blocked by Rochland, but the ball tipped to Rivas and Immel. You can hear that slap up in the second deck. And Immel's telling Bob Sidoff it was on him, and Jimmy Clark is telling Bob Sidoff it was him. And it's Immel slapping on the foul.
And Rivas does a good job. There's the block by Rochland as the ambidextrous Macon tried to take it in with the left hand. But Rivas does a good job of drawing the foul by going ahead and leaning in, and Foster saying, look, I had good vertical position that time, which it's hard to doubt. He did have good position, but he got the foul call.
2:57 left. Rivas shoots 2. It was Immel's first foul. The Bruins have 5. Temple is over the limit. Two big foul shots, and now this is a 3-possession game, and Temple has the biggest lead of the night, 8 points.
Rivas had a big second half. He is at 8 points in the second half for Temple. 10 for the game.
Shot blocked cleanly inside by Richardson, or did it hit the bottom of the backboard?
I thought it was Rivas who got that block. It looked like Rivas. He's doing it at both ends of the court.
And now you're looking at almost do or die here for UCLA. 2:28, they're down 8. Temple with the ball. The Owls are creeping up on what would be a major season opening win.
It's going to be Macon or Evans.
Macon for 3, short. You're going to get a rebounding foul inside on Rivas, trying to whip around the outside of Foster to sneak in. Rivas with his 3rd, but Temple's over the limit. And so we'll go the other end and shoot 1-and-1 with Greg Foster, but that may not be good news for UCLA.
John Chaney not happy with that because he knows that's like a turnover. You go ahead and miss the outside shot, and you create a mental error by fouling, and you give UCLA a chance to come back and make a 1-on-1 free throw, but they have not shot their free throws very well.
And of those UCLA numbers, Foster is 1 for 4 tonight. Greg Jackson now in for UCLA. He'll replace Rochland. And Greg Foster shoots a 1-and-1. 2:10 to play. Temple leading 72-64. He got his own rebound, misses 1, misses 2, and Rivas is called for the foul.
I don't think anybody blocked out the shooter that time. Foster just missed the shot, walked right in, got the rebound. Mental error that time by Temple on defense because Foster misses the shot, and Macon is kind of watching there. He anticipated that Rivas would get the rebound, did not block the shooter out. It's the only thing he did wrong all night, so maybe we should cut him. What do you think? You think John will cut him?
Well, Walt Hazard's going to have some free throw shooting practice because you just can't give this many points away. 4 for 15 at the foul line for UCLA. Foster's now 1 for 6. Rivas, by the way, called on his 4th foul. 2:07 left, 7-point game. The Owls get it out from that backcourt trap now. Breezewick is stripped by Pooh, and Richardson goes in for the slam. Breezewick held that ball a moment too long, and Richardson stole it. 5-point game, 1:50 to play. Now to front court comes Breezewick.
Still plenty of time. UCLA comes back with a couple of quick points, but they need to stop Temple. They need to have a good defensive sequence in order to get the ball back.
And Temple will want to keep it in the hands of Evans and Macon. Evans, an outstanding free throw shooter.
Oh, you might look for Perry. Perry's been quiet in the second half, but he can score inside. Temple can hurt you from a lot of different ways. Not one player is going to beat you.
Shot clock down to 10. Game clock at 1:18. And Abel fouls Macon from behind. There'll be no basket. No basket, and that sends John Chaney in a dance halfway down the bench.
John wanted the basket. No continuation there. Still not a shooting situation, though, because it's the 6th team foul. So Temple will get the ball out underneath or on the side. They're going to give it to him on the side.
Which may be a break for Temple because they get 45 more seconds, and we have only 1:16 to play.
UCLA's going to have to look to double up and try for a steal. You don't want them to run the 45-second clock all the way down.
And Immel went for the foul. They didn't give it to him. Macon takes a 3 that's short. A bad shot by Macon. The Bruins almost turn it over. A terrible mistake there by Macon.
Richardson hit him in the back. He got the ball right back. UCLA needs some patience. They need a score. They need a good shot.
Foster missing, and Perry clears it with 52 seconds, and he's fouled right away.
John Chaney calling for 2 shots. You're not going to get a 2-shot call. Of course, the rule this year, if it's an intentional foul and a 2-shot opportunity on an intentional, you also get the ball out of bounds. But that's not a 2-shot foul as long as you're going for it.
3rd foul on Richardson. Well, Mark Macon, we've done nothing but sing his praises tonight, but that was an awful mistake he made there by shooting a 3-point basket with about 42 seconds left on the shot clock. But Temple dodged the bullet, and Foster missing. And now Perry will shoot a 1-and-1, but Temple has taken a timeout. So Temple takes timeout. 52 seconds left at Pauley Pavilion. The Owls can smell it. They lead UCLA by 5.
Gus, Shaq.
What's up, Cinderella?
Surprise.
That's me.
That's you.
That's Gus. That's us.
When you buy a $5 book of McDonald's gift certificates, you'll get something extra. Either a free Gus or Shaq, the 2 adorable mice from Walt Disney's classic movie Cinderella, now playing in theaters everywhere. They make great gift decorations, fun ornaments, and cuddly play pals. You can get either Gus or Shaq with a $5 book of McDonald's gift certificates.
And happy holidays from Jacques, from Gus, and us.
Konica Tough. Because there are tough customers, Konica makes tough copiers. Konica Tough means quality. Copiers that copy when you want. Full-featured copiers that perform with amazing reliability. Konica's Royal copiers are sold and serviced across America and Canada. So if you're a tough customer, see the full line of Konica's Tough Royal copiers. And pick on someone your own size.
Temple leading UCLA 72-67. The Owls, who have upgraded their non-conference schedule this year, they're going to play UNLV. Athletic Director Charlie Fiokas for the game talking about the trips they're going to make this year. This is just the first of several tough ones. At North Carolina later in the year, and now they've got UCLA on the ropes. The Bruins needing 3-point shots to get back in this game. Down the stretch, 52 seconds left. Those are their 2 best 3-point shooters, Kevin Walker and Dave Immel, over the last 2 years.
And Temple not going to put anybody on the lane. If Perry misses, they've got all the defenders ready to go on defense, and John Chaney wants to set the defense. So the senior Perry on the line to shoot a big 1-on-1 for Temple.
Career 60% foul shooter, and he gets the dance on the first one.
First point of the second half. Perry's been very quiet, although Rivas has certainly picked up the slack.
First team All-Atlantic 10 last year makes the second, and it's now a 7-point lead, 74-67. Rochland almost Thought was going to call a timeout there. UCLA has 2 timeouts left, but they're down 7. This is what they need. And Walker misses, and the rebound to Rivas, and now Temple is firmly in control with 40 seconds left.
And Temple switched to defense that time. Ted went man-to-man in order to cover the three-point shooters. John Chaney knew UCLA would come down for some threes, so they did come out of their normal defense. They've got control of this one. If they can make free throws, UCLA can't beat them. They need to miss a lot of free throws. UCLA needs to get some three-point shots.
37 seconds. Dave Immel of UCLA's 3rd foul, and Howard Evans will shoot the 1-and-1, and this is not the man to put on the line if you're UCLA. He is an 84% foul shooter for his career.
Of course, the key thing, too, is how well do you shoot free throws down the stretch? And Temple has done a very good job of that, and they don't miss critical free throws. That's why they're a good team and win a lot of games. This is a big win for John Chaney and the Temple Owls.
And now they lead by 9. Richardson not touching the ball as long as he can because the clock won't start. Immel up for 3.
Need a timeout. Take a timeout.
And UCLA does immediately. They have 1 left. 31 seconds left. The Bruins are in critical condition, but still breathing. Down 6.
A special report from Payne Weber. Investors have a lot of questions these days. Let's get some answers from the president of Payne Weber. Should the individual investor be in the market these days?
Yes, I think so. We look for normal investment returns of 10 to 15% over next year. I think the 2 key things are they willing to stay in the market for the long pull, which I would say is a year, and 2, can they stand more than normal volatility? If they can answer that, the answer is yes.
Do you see opportunities ahead?
Yes, I do. The real opportunities probably are in transportation stocks, some financial service stocks, selected retailers, maybe some of the autos. Those would be a good group, I think, to look at.
What are Payne Weber investment executives doing for their clients?
We've asked our investment executives to review all of our clients' holdings to make sure that the securities in their portfolios are the ones that are right for this market environment. And I would urge all investors to do the same, no matter which firm they deal with.
Thank you, and goodbye for now from Payne Weber.
Temple leading UCLA by 6, 31 seconds left. Ted Robinson, Dan Belwamini at Pauley Pavilion. The Bruins taking a timeout after the made 3-pointer by Immel. They have 1 remaining. Temple has committed only 1 turnover in the second half.
UCLA is going to have to look to make a quick foul and not try to make it an intentional. Go for the ball, but you need to go for it quick, right now.
That's the man to foul, and they get the 1-and-1 call. Rivas fouled. I think Immel will be called there. He wanted to foul some of the big guys. Rivas, though, a 71% foul shooter in his career. That's 4 fouls on Immel. Rivas 4 for 4 at the line in the game.
Rivas has had a superb second half. Didn't play much in the first half. Played about 8 minutes, played well, but didn't do the job on defense. But the second half, he's played at both ends of the court, and Charles Rochling comes in the game. Another good perimeter shooter for UCLA. But if the Owls can make their free throws, this one's history.
28 seconds. They lead by 6. Well, at the end of this game, you're going to be able to put the free throw shooting numbers next to each other and see why one team won and why one team lost.
Not a happy UCLA bench. Not used to losing in this building.
8-point lead. Immel crashing the boards. Jackson. Perry comes down with it. He'll be fouled. Now they call a jump ball. I'm sorry, a jump ball called, and the arrow points to Temple, and the Owls get it back with 21 seconds left. Leading by 8, and it's very, very quiet now at Pauley Pavilion.
Well, they just don't make mistakes. Temple takes care of the basketball. They play very smart. They're not going to beat themselves, and they've got excellent players and a tremendous backcourt and good offensive rebounding. That probably means you're going to win a lot of games this year.
Wilson fouling, and that's his first. With 20 seconds left.
I mean, this team's going to the NCAA tournament. The only chance they have of not being the representative of the Atlantic 10 is that the tournament this year will be held in Morgantown in West Virginia. That's where the Atlantic 10 tournament will be held, which will be a great advantage for Gail Caplett's club. But they will have to play awfully well to beat the Temple Owls.
Same advantage Temple had a year ago. The Atlantic 10 tournament on their home court at McGonigal Hall. Perry makes both. Temple just icing this game from the foul line. 80-70, the biggest lead of the night. It's been a much closer game throughout most of it, but the Bruins making mistakes and missing free throws in the second half as Rochland hits a 3 and the Bruins take their final timeout with 10 seconds left. But there is not a whole lot they can do right now as the Temple Owls in their opening game of the season in Pauley Pavilion lead UCLA by 7.
Today you need an insurance company that looks out for you year after year. A company with experience, measured in centuries instead of years. A company with a firm financial footing. You need the Hartford, the insurance people of ITT. When you need us most, we're at our best. That's the Hartford difference.
Well, Temple leads by 7. And look at the free throw shooting difference. That's an 8-point swing right there.
And UCLA missed some one-on-ones in there, and Temple just has not missed any critical free throws. They made them all down the stretch and played an excellent basketball game and controlled the tempo of this game. They really rebounded well, and their guard play was outstanding. They did not turn the ball over to UCLA, and they controlled the transition game of UCLA, Ted. I thought that was a big aspect of this one. They rebounded so well that UCLA never had a chance to get it out on the boards. And that man right there, he's still coaching. John, I think you can relax on this one. You're up 7 or 8. You sit down and just kind of smooth out on this one. It's over.
Emil fouling out as he commits the foul on Rivas, replaced by Kevin Williams, a freshman from Bourbon Day High School in Los Angeles. Rivas 6 for 6 at the line. With 8 seconds left.
He's got a unique style. He kind of bounces it 3 times in the tongue. Watch him if you can get it. The tongue comes out of the mouth at about the 4th swing. Here it comes right. There it is, right there.
They'll call him the Lizard. Missing the second. Here come the Bruins for the final run. And Pooh hits a 3, but there's nothing the Bruins can do as that's the last shot of the game. And the Temple Owls, who beat UCLA at McGonigal Hall last year and thought that was one of the biggest wins ever, may think this is now it as John Chaney brings his team to Pauley Pavilion in their season opener, and they knock off UCLA 81-76.
Excellent job by John Chaney and the Temple Owls. Good road game. This is a very important win for the Temple program. UCLA needs to improve, Ted, but I really think they will. They got a very young ball club, especially in the front line.
And what a debut for freshman Mark Macon from Saginaw. 22 points for Temple. Now let's go back to our ESPN studio.
Whose point average as St.